Welcome to Flash Talk, brought to you by Hungry Howies. We are live with head coach Sean Lewis. And coach, kind of a unique would be an understatement to describe the start to this year, but it's the same opponent that we ended the last regular season with, but it's going to be a brand new look Eastern Michigan team. So now that the chips are on the table, we know who the opponent is going to be in front of us here in a few days. Just kind of take us through the prep and the getting ready for the Eagles.
Yeah, it's kind of a unique deal, as you alluded to. Obviously, going into this year, I don't think anyone foresee the circumstances that we're all faced with right now. And when we ended the regular season last year with the Eagles, obviously they had been our crossover opponent for the previous two seasons, but we're not on the schedule going forward because of the crossover opponent. So at least there's some familiarity. I feel like I've been watching some Eastern Michigan film now for, the past full year, given the amount of time that we obviously prepped to win that game and become bowl eligible last year. And then you jump back into things here and you jump back right with them. But the unique thing about it, on top of all that, right, like any week one opponent, whenever you start a season, you're kind of chasing ghosts because guys have graduated, and obviously the other circumstances of, we don't know who's opted in, who's opted out for them versus who may be out due to contact tracing or because of COVID and everything else that goes into this. So been a lot of time in this preparation, just really focusing on ourselves and making sure that we know our schemes, our systems. And then I think it's going to be huge come game day here to be able to have in-game adjustments and apply our rules.
Now, you've just talked with you over the course of all of this. You've preached kind of doing things the right way and keeping everybody kind of on schedule. Given the uniqueness, like everything you just mentioned, has that been the biggest challenge, just on top of preparing for an opponent, is trying to keep things as normal as possible?
Yeah, I think we are some of the most routine-oriented creatures on planet Earth, as football players. And to keep the routine as normal as it's been in years past, but obviously given the circumstances and what we have to do for testing in order to play and all the new protocols, you're really taking it day by day. And the kids have done a fabulous, fabulous job of, having great discipline, great self-discipline, and taking ownership of the opportunity that we have and doing what's necessary to play, right? I mean, we all wanted to play. And now given the hurdles and the obstacles that we face day in and day out, the kids have been great and they've embraced it and they understand this is what it's going to take to play. So let's hug those challenges and find a way to overcome them.
You couldn't say it better myself. And looking at the uniqueness and all the uncertainty of the season, it's got to be nice to see some familiar faces, obviously, in certain rooms. So let's start with the quarterback under center as a guy that really kind of burst onto the scene, for lack of a better word, and ran with that QB1 job once he was handed to it. Talk about the ability to get some extended time working with that group, being a former quarterback yourself.
Yeah, I mean, having Crum and having just the veterans that we have in the room, not only with Crum, but with Woody and then with Colin Shalee coming into his redshirt freshman year, having this extended time, and with Griffin Brewster coming on campus as well, just having some extra practices to be able to develop them has been clutch. But obviously, too, with all the variables that we just discussed and kind of how you take it day to day and you don't know what challenges are going to hit you at 6:30 in the morning and how that might impact things, to have a guy under center that is a consistent, stable force has been invaluable for us. And then on top of that, so much of what we and everyone has been going through in terms of this space of needing players to lead. And when your best player, one of your best players, is one of your best leaders, and he has been like water and just gone with the flow with all the challenges and all the obstacles and all the unique opportunities that have presented themselves. He really setting the tone and setting the pace for everyone in the building of how the players should go about their work. So it's been great to have that steady force.
Looking at the other side of the ball, obviously some new names, some new faces we can see, but one of the mainstays that I've always kind of enjoyed playing when my 1 year watching you guys has been Manny, and he's going to come back and lead that linebacking core. I know between the linebackers and the safeties, those are quote unquote the quarterbacks of your defense, and that's really where you return some of the guys as well. So having a scheme leader on the offense and have scheme leaders on the defense has to be a huge asset going into this 6-game sprint.
Yeah, for sure. Having, again, the player-led leaders on both sides of the ball, talking about Crum and jumping to Mandela Lawrence Burke, he's been a guy from the very beginning with his position versatility and all the things that he's done for us since he's been here. He's been completely, a completely selfless individual and has really grown this offseason as a leader. And again, has been a steady force for that side of the ball, day in and day out. You know what you're going to get from him. He brings his lunch pail and he goes to work. And as you alluded to, he is the quarterback of our defense. He's the guy who's at the heart and soul of it. He's making the calls, he's making the checks, and we're going to go as he goes on that side of the ball. And then obviously having Keyshawn Gamble as well at the outside linebacker position. Again, a guy who's been here from the beginning, knows what the expectations are, knows what the standard is that we're going to hold day in and day out. Those guys have been monumental on that side of the ball.
And we'd be remiss if we didn't would talk about another golden standard guy who kind of made his name last year in Matthew Trickett. Is you bringing back leaders in all three phases, and you preach all three phases. And special teams were one of the strengths last year of this team, and especially in a competitive league like the Mid-American Conference, where it can come down to some special teams plays. You got to feel confident that now number two is lining up for you.
Yeah, certainly. Obviously having Trickett, we played in 8 one-possession ball games last year. Obviously, some we came out on the right side, others we came up a little bit short. But when you're playing in such a close-knit race that the MAC is year in and year out, you know that you're going to come down to, the one-possession games, moments late in the fourth quarter where the game's going to be won based off someone's foot. And to have a guy, again, who's gone through 2 years of being in the battles and has a lot of experiences, seen a lot of different things, kicked in a lot of inclement weather that we're going to be playing in this year. And being from Northeast Ohio, those types of things aren't going to faze him. And to have him be at the core of breaking in some new specialists, obviously with, having a new long snapper with Joey moving on and and graduating, and then Derek as well, graduating and taking his talents to Northwestern. That's where his leadership, he really has stepped up to the occasion and earned that golden standard accolades and got the deuce.
Well, we talked a little bit about this over the year, a couple of the press conferences we had with you over the off season. Obviously, a later start, you get a chance to look at how some other teams are going about doing their business in this sense of uncertainty. Has that helped you at all? Or by being able to watch just a wide variety of games, has the mad scientist been able to get back in the lab a little bit and come up with some new looks that we can see over the next few weeks?
I think everyone's probably going to have – I think everyone in the league, with how skilled our coaches are in this league, across the board, I think it's one of the most talented leagues when it comes to the level of coaching. I think everyone's going to probably have a few new tricks up their sleeves a little bit. And that's part of the chasing ghosts that we were talking about earlier. We've had more time, and you never know what sort of new off-season wrinkles people are going to do. And, we've had some extended time here to where usually we kind of be hitting the halfway mark of the season at this point in time, where we've seen some other games. I tell you the one thing, Dan, that's been really kind of beneficial has just been all the different situational football opportunities that have come up where you can see it, approach it. Just last weekend, the Indiana and Penn State game and that end of game situation and how both staffs and players manage those situations to just kind of sit back and, quite honestly, see some other people stress and sweat those situations and be able to be a student of the game and learn from that has been pretty cool and pretty beneficial.
Well, let's kind of flip the script a little bit and talk about how you personally kind of spent the off season. When we really last talked to you way back in the late signing period, first and foremost, congratulations, a little bit more time spent with now a growing family.
Yeah.
How has the life been as the hashtag girl dad?
It's been awesome. It's been a true blessing through all of this, to be able to have that time with family. And baby girl, she's going to be 9 months old here on election day. And it's amazing how fast that time goes. And, my son's going to be 5 here in the not too distant future. I just swapped out his new fall school picture in my office, and I got all the old ones from since we've been here. And man, to see how fast this time has gone, to be able to take a breath and to be with the family and do some things as a father that, usually my wife shoulders by herself. That's been, like I said, it's been a blessing to have that family time. And that's something that, given how hard this has been for everyone, hopefully everyone's been able to take pause, take a deep breath, and experience, that good family time at home.
Absolutely. That's been one time that it's been me and the dogs that have really kind of benefited. But I know this has been a stressful situation for you over the past 6 to 8 months. End of a long day. What's a way that the Lewis family kind of unwinds? Is it Netflix? Is it Chicago? Was it The Last Dance that you lost yourself into, or what has it kind of been for you?
We definitely immersed ourselves with both me and my wife being from Chicago. The Last Dance was really cool, and just I get enthralled with people who do anything at an elite level. You kind of just I get captivated by that. So it doesn't matter if it's sports, and the Last Dance documentary, that was really cool. I had heard for such a long time about the Showtime show Homeland, and just how good the acting, the writing, the storyline was with that. And my wife and I hadn't seen a single episode of that. So that kind of became a routine at the end of the day before we both kind of crashed on the couch at 9:30, chasing around the little ones and everything. We'd probably make it through one episode of that. But those are kind of the two things. And then I tell you what, just the opportunity to read as well, with how crazy things have been. Again, had a little bit more time to dive into some books and, learn from others. I was told by a mentor a long time ago that smart men learn from their mistakes, wise men and women learn from others. So just have an opportunity to crack a book and read some other stories and learn from some other people in hopes that to take that knowledge and apply it in the future.
Well, then the last question for you: what is the Sean Lewis Book Club recommendation here for this week?
So this week right now, I'm in a deep leadership. Kind of, not to be too cliche here, but there's a great leadership book by Jocko Willink called Extreme Ownership. He's written quite a few. Strong recommend. Actually, just gifted all of our GAs copies of that book for them to read and hopefully take some things out of. But anything by Jocko, I would recommend. And it starts with his first book, Extreme Ownership. I think that's really good. And then for the football fans that are listening, Chasing the Bear was a cool dual biography about Nick Saban and him chasing Paul Bear Bryant, which was a really, really, I thought it was a unique structure, the way the author put it together and tying the two stories together. And obviously, Coach Saban being a Kent State grad, some pretty cool Kent State stories in there as well.
Well, very cool. Thank you, Coach. We'll let you get back to it, preparing for the Eagles, and hopefully we're talking next week about a 1-0 Flash Fast family.
That'd be good.
Appreciate it. Thank you again.
Thank you. Go Flashes.